Updates. Now, it's been 17 days since the first positive coronavirus case was announced in Kenya. On the global scene, the virus has claimed over 35,200 lives from the 738,000 cases confirmed so far. Italy is the most affected, with at least 812 deaths today, or rather that was as of yesterday, and a total of 10,700 lives lost since the outbreak. I will be taking you through the numbers as far as Kenya is concerned, but first let's hear from our correspondents on the ground. We start with Bill Otieno, who is in Taita Taveta County, and more specifically in Voi. Bill, what do you have for us this morning?
Well, thank you very much, studio. And I'm in Voi right now, and we're joining the studio, joining the broadcast here. And indeed, we are following up on certain stories. More specifically, on the county government this evening is expected to wash the streets of Voi, especially exactly at 6 p.m. They will be expected to be disinfecting the streets of Voi, targeting the business premises. This was after announcement was done by the county government of Taita Taveta, and this exercise is expected to be head by the governor of Taita Taveta, Granton Samboja. We'll be following more events that will be coming up eventually, and we'll be giving you more details in our subsequent bulletins. Back to you.
All right, that was very brief, Bill, but it's much appreciated. Now, I did promise you that we'd look at the numbers more specifically as they concern Kenya. There have been 8 new coronavirus cases. If you'll just take a walk with me here and let's take a look at those numbers. As I said, there were 8 new cases confirmed yesterday, bringing the total number to 50. Now, Nairobi County, there we go, is leading with 37 cases. There are now 37 people infected with the virus. Kilifi comes in second with 6 people infected with the coronavirus. Mombasa comes in third with 4 cases of the coronavirus. And Kwale comes in with 1 case. And Kajiado also has 1 case, as well as Kitui. Now, in terms of the total contacts of these people who've been monitored, the number stands at 1,474, and that is according to the press briefing given by the Health Cabinet Secretary, Mutahi Kagwe, yesterday afternoon. The total number tested so far stands at 1,005, and those targeted for testing within this 24 hours are 300. All right, there you have it, the numbers as they stand as far as Kenya is concerned. Now, I did mention we have many correspondents across the country, including in Mombasa. We have Kevin Mutai in Mombasa County. Kevin, what do you have for us this morning?
Good morning, Olive. It's a sunny, bright morning day here in Mombasa. And again, we are coming live from the Likoni ferry crossing, and as you can see right now, that behind me there are 2 ferries currently that are docked here at the island, and things are somehow, rather the commuters, there's some orderliness here, and commuters have adhered to the regulations as placed by the government and enforced by security officials. Remember, the issue of social distancing has been a hard matter and a challenge for the authorities to deal with, but as days go by, residents continue to abide by these regulations. But of course, there are a bit of challenges, like yesterday, for instance, so many drivers had to sleep in their vehicles. They had to spend a night because they arrived here very late. Remember, there are new guidelines that were put in place by the government that from 11 to 2 strictly that is the time to only ferry the vehicles across the channels. But those who are arriving past that time, then definitely they'll have to stay and wait until the following day. And we saw that really happening yesterday. In fact, even some of the few commuters as of yesterday at around around 7 when we left here, there are few commuters who had to find alternative places to sleep because all the ferries were withdrawn at around 6:45. The last ferry, MV Jumbo, was leaving the island at 6:45 towards Likoni. But of course, these are some of the measures that the law enforcement maintain that they have to strictly put in place, so that of course there have been issues to do with some of the residents disregarding some of these regulations. And of course we've also had reports that there are challenges also in areas such as Chuda, Mwembe Tayari, even Bamburi, where some of the residents even stay outside even past 7 o'clock. But of course regular patrols are being conducted in those particular areas. Let's also talk about some bus terminals such as in Mwembe Tayari. That place is popularly known to be one of the areas where residents depend largely on transportation from Mombasa to Nairobi. But yesterday we saw as early as even 5:30 some of the buses and other public service transportation vehicles had already parked, and that place had been deserted. But let me today quickly join the Director General of the Kenya Coast Guard Services, Naisho Lo Nena, to just bring us up to speed on some of the measures they have been exercising, or rather instituting here at the channel. And of course tell us how far have you seen, what sort of difference can you probably point out since you began enacting some of these regulations 5 days since Friday when the curfew was being enforced for the first time in the country?
Thank you very much. First, good morning, and I would say this has been a very good day. As you've said, since the last 5 days that has come up to today, our biggest mission here was to maintain what they call the social distance. We started the slow start initially. It was a bit of a challenge, but over time, the wananchi are getting the practice. They are getting into the sync with us on what we require, and it is working very well. There is a major improvement in terms of order in this place as compared to what used to happen some time back. And we want this to be the norm post-coronavirus, because the issue of our people, wananchi, their dignity is very important. Being huddled together in a small place, squeezed so much, particularly women and children have been suffering quite a lot. We want this to become a norm for our wananchi, in a way that they get into the ferry in an orderly manner, that it becomes even enjoyable for everybody else to use the ferry. That is very important to maintain that. So there's a major improvement that we're seeing.
But of course we are seeing that there's a bit of traffic, especially from the other side in Likoni. How are you able to manage that situation?
What we've done, this is a multi-agency approach that we've taken. What we are doing is that the first ferry starts early in the morning, depending on the peak season. So we are on either side where the peak starts. The peak normally on a day like today, early in the morning, starts from the mainland coming this way. In the evening, it changes around. So we put a lot of our people on the ground right from 4:30 in the morning to be able to control the crowd, so that they come in an orderly manner. That's what we maintain throughout, so that they get into the practice. The other thing that we put in, that we're insisting, is the issue of wearing the cover, the mask, the face mask. That is, the uptake of it right now is very good. I can say that the uptake so far is about 80%. We are still insisting, pushing them to be able to use that face mask and use it in the right way, to be able to mitigate the problem we are facing.
But of course also we've been witnessing some challenges, like yesterday for instance at around 7, there are people who are still coming in here requesting for ferry services. There's a challenge because most of the people still ignore some of these directives that by 6:30 all the ferries will be withdrawn from the channel. How are you able to deal with that? Because we even saw some of the drivers, they had to spend a night in their vehicles as they wait for today to get the services.
Thank you very much. What we are trying to do is we see, as I said initially, this is a multi-agency, and we are working with the administration in this place. We are still trying to urge the employers to release their people quite early, because we are not in a normal situation. this is like a war situation. They need to release the people a bit quite early for them to be able to make it to the deadline. Because when they come after the deadline, the 7 o'clock in the evening, they will not be able to cross. Then they'll be compelled to stay in the island. In terms of vehicles, the breakdown or the program was given to them on what they were supposed to follow. The time for pedestrians who are a priority, and then vehicles that are carrying commodities that we require in terms of food are also given priority. And then we got big vehicles like petrol tankers that require a certain time of the day. They also are controlled by the tide, because big vehicles don't cross any time. They require what you call a high tide to be able to cross. So those are the things we're trying to implement. And the fact that we are here most of the time with the RC is to be able to react to different situations, to apply flexibility sometimes where it's required. That is urgent on our side. Yeah.
Well, of course, KCGS is a new kid on the block, and this is one among many other national tasks that you have to ensure you deliver, because this pandemic is a global issue, and here in Mombasa you're playing a critical role in ensuring that all the protocols and regulations are adhered to the latter. So what as an institution, what are some of these critical areas that perhaps you think needs to be done more to ensure that the virus is kept at bay, and of course keeping the public safe?
I think the most important thing that was also declared by His Excellency the President and the CS, the most important is for people to stay home. The only way we can break the particular chain of the disease is staying home. Certain situations are inevitable. People still have to go and look for work. But we still insist the most important thing is people to stay home. That way we'll be able to break the chain of the disease. That's the most important as far as coronavirus is concerned. Yeah.
And then again, the Coast region so far has 11 cases. Kilifi leading with 6, Mombasa following closely with 4 cases, and then Kwale County 1 case. And of course, again, the Ministry of Health is indicating that they are yet to conduct more tests. And of course, as they also continue tracing other people who came into contact with the confirmed positive cases in this region, it is something that even the government fears the numbers could increase exponentially. Are we prepared, for instance, if that happens, for instance, then definitely the government might consider even tougher or other stringent measures like even a lockdown. Are we prepared for such a situation?
We always work on our contingency plans. We wait for guidance to be given from the authorities, particularly the CS, who is the CS Health, who is basically the lead ministry in this particular case. I would say that we look at we've already considered facilities around. If we have to go to that situation, I believe we're prepared for it, and perhaps we're working towards that particular direction as a team. Once that comes in, although at the moment there's no indication of that sort, but if that becomes necessary to go into it, I believe we're prepared. You had the CS talking about yesterday that schools are closed. There are school facilities, boarding facilities are available. So if you require those ones to be used, then they'll be left to be utilized for that particular purpose. Yeah.
Well, of course, also again, since even the first case was confirmed here in the region, Mombasa, of course, has been a critical, it's a port of entry, and many other people have been placed in quarantine, and I believe they are still in mandatory quarantine as of now, waiting for 14 days. That is the incubation period for the virus. And then again, after that, then definitely they will be either released after conducting tests. Can we just maybe, if you can, maybe just tell us how that situation is, and how the government is monitoring, especially those who are currently in quarantine here in the Coast region?
Let me first talk from my field, where perhaps I understand very well. The others might not be able to comment. What we've done on the side of shipping. You heard that shipping that is bringing goods here is still allowed to come into the port. Ships that do come here from other countries, the crew have got very clear instructions that they will not alight from the ships. They will stay on board their ship, and they are monitored throughout. And if there's somebody on board the ship who is sick or has got signs of temperatures and also that aligns to coronavirus, the captain is obligated to report that to the authorities here. The first people that board the ship when it comes here are the health personnel, to make sure that the ship is clear and they are given the report on the crew on board the ship. After that, contact between our people and the ship is maintained to bare minimum. They're not supposed to alight from the ship, they stay on board. Everything is unloaded, then the ship leaves this country, but they don't go ashore. Yeah.
But of course also the institution KCGS is also tasked with also securing our territorial waters here in the country. But of course, also we've heard that even there are some instances that even port health officials and other, public health officers have even been forced to even, go deep sea and even inspect some of these vessels. How normally and often do we witness or even see such kind of incidences?
That is, as far as the pilot is concerned in this particular port, that's the daily routine. Any ship that comes here, there's a place that is called the turning buoy. It's a holding area outside in the open sea. That's where they wait, and you normally see the red vessels, the written pilots. They go outside with the medical personnel. Then they're the first people to get on board that particular ship. Then after that, they give the all clear, then the pilot gets on board. And then we ensure that they are properly kitted with whatever they require in terms of PPE kit to get on board, and they are safe to come this way. That's what happens. That is a standard in basically major ports of the world. Yeah.
And again, when you talk about the port and the maritime sector, a lot of people depend on this particular industry when it comes to cargo transportation. When China was first hit by this virus, we saw industries, closing and because even the country here, not even the Kenya alone, the East African region, the entire East African, 40% of the cargo imports come from China. Right now, we're seeing that there's some bit of difference. We're seeing vessels coming in, cargo ships coming in. They are even booking early. We've even seen, like last week, they even reported that 4 vessels docked at the port of Mombasa. How has been business when you talk about cargo transportation via the port of Mombasa to different parts of the country and even outside beyond our borders?
Basically, from my observation, because I don't have the exact details, but from my observation, ETS, from the briefing got from the MDKPA, there's been a slowdown in terms of vessels coming here. But all the same, when it comes to issues of vessels carrying fuel, they've still been coming. Foodstuff, fertilizer, they've still been coming. But what we've missed in the port right now is that we don't see cruise liners anymore. Those ones have stopped. The ones that used to come to this port from time to time, that one is basically no go. Because even if they come here, they will not be able to alight. They will not be allowed at all. So that's the situation we see right now. But in terms of business, of shipping, it has come down a bit. But I think in terms of the supply chain, it has already been maintained. Because remember, this port does not serve Kenya only. It serves Kenya and the hinterland. So it's very important that we maintain business in this particular port.
And just maybe to confirm, even the staff who are on board some of these cargo vessels, are they placed in a mandatory 14-day quarantine?
What happens with the staff, the decision we took is that was taken, is that they stay on board their ship when they come here. So the issue of quarantine does not arise in this case on our side. They quarantine themselves on board the ship. They don't get onto the Kenyan mainland at all, unless there's an emergency situation that needs to be addressed, because we also understand the treaties or the obligations we have as a country. When there's somebody on board who is sick, then that has to be taken care of. But in terms of the crew on board the ship, they don't get onto the Kenyan soil at all. Yeah.
Well, of course, so let me just get back to, there's a crucial and a very pertinent concern here. There are some people here, especially depending on the ferry services. There are those and the drivers who wait until late in the evening for them to depend on this. Maybe again reiterate the timelines that you've put in place so that we don't witness whatever we saw yesterday. Many people had to sleep outside.
Yeah. I think the timings that were put were very clear and they were being laid out and has been put across even in the various websites and even the FM stations. Is that from early in the morning, from 5 o'clock up to 10 o'clock, it is personnel only who are a priority, because they're the ones who want to make sure they cross and go to the places of work. Then from that time, from 11 to 10 o'clock up to 2 o'clock, it's vehicles. Then from 2 o'clock up to 6 o'clock, it is personnel only. That is what we've laid up on the program here. But in between, vehicles carrying food and vehicles of an emergency nature are allowed to come through. And then since we rely on high water for heavy vehicles, the ones that carry fuel, the articulated lorries, when we have high water only appears twice in a day. So we exploit that high water to make sure those vehicles come across.
And just to be sure, maybe the essential service providers like health officials?
Health officials, when they come with their identity, they give them priority. Doctors, nurses, they are our heroes at this time.
Anytime?
Anytime they come, we consider their case. Yes.
Well, thank you so much, sir, for your time. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Well, that is the Director General, the Kenya Coast Guard Services here in Mombasa, among the multi-agency team playing a critical role in enforcing some of the directives put in place by the government towards ensuring that the fight against coronavirus remains high and they remain on top of the fight against the pandemic. So we are here still gathering more information to what is happening across the coast region. Remember, 11 cases from this particular region have been confirmed by the government, and they are yet to conduct further tests and even tracing of other people believed to have come into contact with the positive cases. So we are on top of this story, and we will be informing you what you need to know from this region in our subsequent bulletins. Back to you, Olive, in studio.
All right, thank you, Kevin. That interview with the Kenya Coast Guard was truly informative. Now we cross over to Kakamega County, where Zacchaeus Masambe has been standing by. Zacchaeus, what do you have for us?
Thank you so much. We are coming to you live from the county of Kakamega, where we have a number of issues we are following up. First on our diary is the issues to do with the surging numbers of COVID-19 victims in the country, standing at 50 now. We want to get the reactions from the residents of Kakamega regarding the same. How are they prepared? Do they expect this? What are they doing to make sure that they don't facilitate the spread of this disease? You remember also we have the curfew in place, and we want to get the reaction to that. And therefore, just to make this happen, I'll be joined with a number of people here. But this gentleman here is a border operator in Kakamega. The feeling, what do you make of this COVID-19? Nyinyi watu wa bodaboda mmeweza kuathirika kivipi na huu ugonjwa, na mnafanya nini kuhakikisha kwamba ugonjwa huu usiweze kusambaa iwapo utapatikana hapa Kakamega?
Asante sana. Mimi naitwa Lazarus Sifuna Juma. Mimi ni kiongozi wa bodaboda sako hapa kaunti ya Kakamega. Mimi nasema kwamba kufikia sasa hivi, kwa hakika ninashukuru sana watu wa bodaboda kutii sheria ya kwamba curfew ya usiku wasipatikane town, na pia kuweza kuwa na kunawa kila mara, ila tu ni ya kwamba naomba serikali ya kaunti kaweze kuleta maji karibu na stages, so ya kwamba watu waweze kunawa kila mara. Na hii ugonjwa wa corona imetuathiri sana kwa sababu mapato yetu haipo, usafiri imepungua zaidi kiwango kikubwa sana. Nasema by 90% usafiri imepungua. Sasa tunaathirika zaidi na zaidi. Hata hii curfew ya usiku imetuathiri zaidi pakubwa, lakini tunatii sheria kwa sababu hatutaki tupatikane katika hali ya ugonjwa. Na pia ningependa kuomba serikali ya kwamba hawa vijana wengi wa bodaboda wako na mikopo, na kuna shirika moja linaloitwa watu wanaendelea kuchukua pikipiki za vijana kwa kutolipa pesa yao ya loan, na si kwa kupenda kwao, ni kwamba mapato imeenda chini, maisha imekuwa magumu hata katika familia, lakini unapata kwamba watu credit inaendelea kuweza kuchukua pikipiki hapa town, na niko na kesi kadhaa zenye wamesharipotia kwamba wamechukuliwa pikipiki. Sasa mahali kama hapo serikali iweze kutusaidia, kwa sababu imekuwa ni changamoto sana katika maisha ya mtu wa chini kama mtu wa bodaboda.
Wewe umeingiwa na wasiwasi, umeona visa vinaendelea kuongezeka kila wakati, waziri akisoma vimeongezeka. Kama mwana bodaboda, kama mkazi wa Kakamega, kama Mkenya, je, una wasiwasi kuhusiana na hilo?
Niko na wasiwasi sana, na licha na wasiwasi hiyo, wacha tukaweze kutii sheria ya Ministry of Health. Wakisema kwamba tunawe mikono, tusiwe karibu na watu, wacha tutii ili tusimamishe hili changa. Niko na wasiwasi sana. Namba inaendelea kuongezeka usiku na mchana. Niko na wasiwasi sana kwa sababu ya kwamba inapofika mahali kama kwa stages hapa, na unapata ya kwamba sisi mapato iko chini. Tukipata mteja mmoja tunang'ang'ania sana ili upate hiyo kazi. Kumbe unang'ang'ania mtu mwenye na ugonjwa. Niko na shuku sana ya kwamba huu ugonjwa itaendelea kama hatutatii sheria ya Wizara ya Afya.
Asante sana. Thank you so much, gentlemen. We have another Kenyan here. Jina lako alafu tuelezee kwa ufupi. Wewe maoni yako kuhusiana na hili janga la COVID-19. Hususan namba inaendelea kuongezeka. Je, wewe unahisi vipi kuhusiana na hili?
Kwa majina Sylvester Sakumbaye, mchungaji. Kama mhudumu wa taxi pia hapa mjini Kakamega, kwa hii stage ambayo inaitwa Equity parking hii yetu ya taxi, nataka kusema ya kwamba magari hizi za taxi tumeichukua kama kwa mkopo, na utapata ya kwamba hii gari tangu hii hali ya corona COVID-19 ianze, hatutoki. Gari tumetembeza kutoka kwa nyumba kuja kwa parking mpaka hadi mafuta hata yameisha, na kuja hiyo duration wakati tumeanza hii mambo ya kufanya kazi masaa 12 hata hayatutoshelezi, kwa maana unaweza kaa hapa masaa yote 12 kazi yoyote hujaenda, gari liko tu pale, watu wa loan wanasubiri, madeni ya gari yanasubiri, wenye madeni wanapiga simu, umefikia wapi. Nataka kutangaza ya kwamba kama wakaaji wa Kakamega wa huduma wa taxi za magari tuko katika hali ya ugumu, na tungependa ya kwamba serikali ichukue jukumu nzuri hata ya kutushughulikia, kuona ya kwamba tutafanya namna gani kulingana na curfew. Napatikana ya kwamba mhuduma wa taxi anaanza kazi hii around saa 1 jioni, na hiyo saa 1 nasemekana ya kwamba kufikia saa 12:30 tuwe tunapatikana kwa nyumba, na kama mhuduma wa taxi ndio wakati wa kwanza kazi. So tunaomba kwamba serikali iangalie hali hiyo ili tuone tutafanya nini.
Mmechukua tahadhari gani kuhakikisha kwamba ugonjwa huu usiweze kusambaa kama wahudumu wa taxi hapa?
Tunasimama katika hali ya makundi zetu za taxi, tunasimama mbalimbali. Hiyo 1 meter tunajaribu ku apply, tunatumia hizo sanitizer ili ku make sure ukitaka kupata mteja unamnawisha mkono na hiyo sanitizer, nawe mikono kwa sabuni nzuri pasipopungua sekunde 20, ili ukikabiliana naye kukaa naye kwa gari. Pia huwezi anza kubeba watu more than 5. We are carrying kama mmoja wawili, ili uweze kuambukiza ile ugonjwa.
Asante sana. Thank you so much. We have the next gentleman who will be rounding up our day. What's your name and what do you feel of this COVID-19? Songa mbali kidogo hapa.
Yes, I'm Hakim Juma Ambani. Kwa majina anaitwa Hakim Juma Ambani. Sisi tumekumbana na hii janga la corona ambayo ni tisho kubwa dunia mzima. Na mimi ningelipenda kuomba serikali kama ingeweza kufungia kila mtu na ikampa kila mtu chakula penye yako, ingekuwa usaidizi sana. Kwa sababu ukiangalia mataifa kama Amerikani, Germany, Italy zimeshindwa, na ni nchi ambazo zinajiweza, first world countries zenye tunazijua. Hii jambo kiingia Kenya sisi yani venye imeingia hivi imefika saa hii 50 tutaumia zaidi. So ningelipenda serikali, kuna pesa ambayo imepewa serikali, kuna pesa ambayo imepewa ambayo ni mabilioni na tumeziona katika runinga. So mimi ningependa tafadhali watu wa bodaboda wawache kupigwa usiku. Hii pesa igaiwe kila mwana Kenya, ama wagawe chakula, waeke lockdown. Hii ugonjwa ni tisho, si mchezo. So hiyo ndo ningeomba serikali fanye nini, iweze kufungia watu wakae ndani ya manyumba na wagaiwe chakula, kwa sababu tuko na pesa ya kutosha. Nini ingine nafanya? Tukipiga hesabu ya hiyo pesa ambayo imepewa katika sisi raia wa Kenya, tuko milioni 47. Tukipiga hiyo hesabu, kila mtu anaweza pata shilingi 1,100 na tukakaa kwa manyumba na tukatulia. So tafadhali mimi naomba serikali iweze kusaidia, isikae tu hii kusema kupiga watu viboko, si kuchunga corona hata kidogo. Kwa sababu gani? Unapiga mtu na mtu anatoka kwenda kutafuta, hiyo haitusaidii na kitu yoyote. So naomba tafadhali serikali iko na pesa ya kutosha, imetenga pesa ya njaa kando, iko ya madhara iko. Kwa sababu ukienda hapa kama general wanasema kuna facility za kutibu mtu, ukifika huko watu wanakimbia. Kama juzi tumeona kuna mama ametoka Italy hapa Mraka, tumeita serikali, hata nimepigia simu kwa hizo namba, wananiuliza wewe jamaa hako wapi? So tutasaidika na nini? Tutasaidika aje? Hapa nimeona gavana wetu ametenga mahali akisema hapo mahali ni padogo. Sisi kwanza ukiangalia Kakamega County ni the largest county na population ndio sisi tunaongoza, si second kwa population. So umetega nyumba mbili pale, itatusaidia na nini? Naomba tafadhali tusaidie serikali, wewe lockdown, patia wananchi chakula penye wako, watu wasitembee town, duka zifungwe kwa muda mchache. Hiyo magonjwa nafikiri tunaweza sustain.
Asante, thank you so much, gentlemen. Give you some time. All right, those are the sentiments of some of the residents of Kakamega here. Those are their feelings and their wishes that they think that could help to curb down the spread of COVID-19. Also, apart from that, we'll also be following up a story whereby yesterday a fire broke out at the provincial headquarters, where we are told at the provincial registration office, where we are told several certificates of birth and deaths here in Kakamega were banned. Therefore, we'll be heading there from this place to make sure that we just give an eye on what could have transpired, how many people were affected, or how many certificates were also affected. Thank you so much from the county of Kakamega here, 037 in Kakamega County. My name is Zakis Mwasame, and now back to you in studio.
All right, thank you, Mwasame. Do you agree with that gentleman who spoke last, saying what we need is a lockdown? Agree or disagree, you can text us using the number 20686 at no charge, or tweet us using the @NTV Kenya handle. We're also streaming live on Facebook, so you can also drop your comments there. We now cross over back to Taita Taveta County, more specifically Voi Town, where Bill Otieno is. He has the views of the area residents on the coronavirus and the action the government has taken. Bill, do residents there advocate for a total lockdown? All right, it appears Bill cannot hear me, but we also have Martin Mora in Murang'a County. He has views of those in that particular area. Are the residents there, Martin, happy with the government interventions as far as the coronavirus is concerned?
Good morning here
Martin,
from County 021. Yes, I can. Sorry for that. I can hear you very clearly. It's a good morning from County 021 here. And as you say, yes, we are following up on so many arrays of issues, more so concerning the issue of COVID-19, popularly known as coronavirus. Now here in Murang'a County, the county has put up an array of measures to ensure that this case is not reported. These cases are not reported here. You know, they have been reported in various counties, including our neighboring county, which is Nairobi. You know, Murang'a falls under the Nairobi Metropolitan, and these are some of the measures that have been put in place by the county government. If my camera person can be able to show, is on my right, as you can see, there is a signboard here written, "Stay at home, kaa nyumbani." This is coronavirus, protect yourself and others against coronavirus. This is a poster by the county government. It has been put up by the county government to ensure that people are able to stay at home and be able to, take the necessary precautions to ensure that they do not get infected. Something else that I would like to bring to your attention is the county is actually doing a lot concerning this disease. And yesterday, the county government banned market days in Murang'a. You know, every day various markets in the various sub-counties have always had their market days. And this sees a lot of people coming from even the neighboring counties to buy agricultural products here in Murang'a. So the county government decided to ban the market days starting from today to ensure that people stay where they are. And if any trader who deals with various agricultural products require, he's supposed to go direct to the farmer, calling it farm gate prices. This is what the county government is doing as per now concerning the market days here in Murang'a County. Something else that I'd like to say that the measures that have been put in place, including the Matatu terminals. You know, the county had banned Matatu from ferrying people from other counties to Murang'a, but it reconsidered that decision, and now there's an arrangement that has been put in place, and this is that one matatu per sacco will be allowed to enter the Matatu terminal. This means that these other matatus, one sacco per matatu in the terminus, others will be forced to wait outside. This is just to try and decongest the matatu terminus, and also to see that people don't flock together. So Murang'a has like 20 circles. So in the terminus, you can only be able to see 10 or 20 circles at a time. Also, the matatus have put all the necessary requirements in place to ensure that they carry as per the requirements by the government. That is, mostly are only 14 seaters. So they are doing 8 passengers. Disinfectants are available. Also, the hand washing and sanitizers, they're also available. Something else that the county government is doing is to ensure that this virus does not spread here in these counties. They are giving out, and they continue giving out sanitizers, free sanitizers to border borders, to marketplaces, to the women, to stages, various stages, matatu stages, and also they are making sure that people, their enforcers, law enforcers, also including the county enforcement team that is going around ensuring that these measures that they have put in place are adhered to. Something else that they are doing here in County 021 is the county government, in conjunction with the municipal council, municipal board, has banned, asked all barbershop and salons to close down. They're saying that this will also help to try and bring down the cases, to ensure that these cases are not reported in Murang'a County. Something else that this county is doing is well-wishers also, before I forget to mention, well-wishers, including recently we saw former PS Irongo Nyakera putting up washing water taps and tanks, and also sanitizers, to ensure that people continue to wash their hands as they visit this county, or even from one place to another, to ensure that hand cleanliness. We are being told each and every time, kindly wash your hand, 1 meter away, kindly do this and that. But people, it seems like they're just taking it for granted. Well-wishers are taking up also this initiative to ensure that people wash their hands, people sanitize, even after they visit the marketplaces, even when they visit this matatu terminus, even when they're walking on the streets. Murang'a has, like, in every place you walk, like 100 meters, you just find another tank where people are encouraged to wash their hands. Something else that I'd like to bring to our viewer is that Murang'a County so far has not reported, as I had mentioned, has not reported any case of COVID-19 here. But I was being informed by the chief officer in charge of health that 98 people so far have been put under isolation, or I can say they have been put under quarantine. These people, they brought themselves voluntarily. The 98, among the 98, some are said to have come from abroad, visit their relatives. So they decided not to take chances after failing to quarantine themselves for the 14 days. Some decided to visit the hospitals, the various hospitals in the various sub-counties. We have 14 isolation centers here in Murang'a County. So some of these people decided to visit them together with their relative who they had come into contact with, saying that they do not want to take chances. And so far, so good. No case has been reported. And also to bring to your attention is, you remember when these cases of coronavirus or COVID-19 were starting, we had that 6 MCAs who had come from Dubai had failed to quarantine themselves. Thus, it was alleged that they had put the whole house into risk, including their fellow MCAs and also the electorates, as they had mingled with the electorates. Good news coming from them is that they decided when it was made mandatory by the county government and the national government that anybody who had come from abroad or had mingled with any person who had come from abroad or anybody who had shown such signs of COVID-19 to quarantine themselves. They undertook that, and after 14 days they went to the hospital and they have been confirmed to be corona-free or COVID-19 free. Those are some of the few things that we are following up on this from this county 021. Also, something else that the governor, I've just received a message from the county government that the governor will be issuing a press statement at exactly 10 on matters, on other raft or arrays of regulations that they'll be putting up to ensure that Murang'a County continue being COVID-19 free. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Martin. We've managed to get a hold of Bill Otieno. I hope he can hear me now. Bill, what do the residents there have to say about the government interventions so far? We've heard from Martin Mora on what interventions have been put in place by the Murang'a County government. He's also spoken to us on the compliance levels of the residents there. What is the situation in Voi?
Two mic test. Well, thank you. Well, thank you very much, Olive. I am at Caltex area in Voi, and indeed now we are having some activities going on, and we're having a situation that is these are business people that are coming from Tito Andei, Makindu, and places where it's bordering Taita Taveta, and currently they are taking their belongings, they're taking their goods that they have brought to the market for sale. The police just came here some minutes ago and chased them away from this location. I just try and talk to one of them. Mama, labda kama unaweza tuelezea shida iko wapi? Shida iko wapi? Shida iko wapi? Kuja tu nieleze. Kuja unyeleze. What's the problem? What's the problem?
Shida imekuwa watu wamepatikana hapa wakiwa wanauza hapa sokoni, na vile serikali imekataa, lakini watu wameanza kukimbizwa na vitu zao zikaweza kuchukuliwa. So imekuwa ni challenge kubwa sana watu wanapitia hapa bwana.
Labda naona polisi wanawafukuza. Ni kwa nini hamkuambiwa, hamkupewa notice?
Watu hawakupatiwa notice. Juu ukiangalia mambo ya corona imeaffect mambo mengi sana. Wameanza kukimbiza watu huku wamama wakianguka bwana. So imeleta challenge kubwa sana hadi sasa hatujui ni kitu gani tunasumbuliwa.
Labda mnapata wakati mgumu saizi wakati
All right, I apologize for that. We seem to have a problem getting a hold of Bill, or rather sustaining a conversation with Bill Otieno in Taita Taveta County. Now, you may have seen this document, which should be appearing on your screen shortly on various social media platforms. It's a letter from the Office of the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Interior addressed to all regional commissioners, to the Department of Devolution to develop plans for food distribution for a possible 21-day lockdown. Now, the Ministry of Interior, on its part, dismissed the document as fake and urged Kenyans to disregard it. However, our sources say otherwise. Vincent Odor gives us the details and the further interventions to ease life for Kenyans at this time.
The Interior and Citizen Services Principal Secretary, signed on his behalf by Paul Famba, was addressed to all regional commissioners. It was informing them that the National Development and Communication Cabinet Committee has directed the Department of Devolution to develop plans for food distribution for possible 21-day lockdown in seeking to step up the war on COVID-19. According to the letter, the department will be required to supply food to various sub-locations depending on the number of persons affected. These will require the regional commissioners to identify food stores in all the sub-locations in their regions in preparation for the food distribution. The Ministry of Interior and Coordination of National Government on its social media pages dismissed the letter as fake, saying the public is advised to regard it as utterly false. Nonetheless, sources indicate that a lot of the groundwork which is in line with a possible lockdown have begun. County and regional commissioners are already mapping out stores in their jurisdictions. Further, within the last 24 hours, Agriculture Principal Secretary Hamadi Boga asked 31 counties to prepare data on available stocks to mitigate COVID-19 food security challenge. The daily briefings by the government have increasingly been sporting more stringent measures as many Kenyans fail to adhere to the guidelines of keeping the disease at bay. The state appears to be playing the delicate balance of not shutting down the country while putting up a strong and effective fight against the coronavirus.
You know, it's very interesting that people are asking for a lockdown and they are unable to follow a curfew. I think it is very important for us to understand what is the meaning of a lockdown. what would a lockdown look like? Because if we don't address this issue of a lockdown and what it looks like, it's very easy to throw it around and say, why is in Kenya locking down the way that we hear other countries are locking down?
As the country grapples with the effects of the pandemic, more is being done to keep the country afloat with least disruptions. In an effort to boost national response to the coronavirus pandemic, President Uhuru Kenyatta has directed the National Treasury to establish the COVID-19 Emergency Response Fund. President Kenyatta has constituted a board that will govern the fund. The seed capital is to be drawn from the exchequer, including monies drawn from the voluntary salary cuts undertaken by the senior ranks of the executive, judiciary, legislature, and county governments. The fund's board will be chaired by Jane Karuku, the Kenya Breweries Managing Director. Other members of the board are Michael Joseph, James Mwangi, Narendra Raval, Joshua Oigara, Jeremy Awori, Washira Waruru, Mohamed Hersi, Phyllis Wakiaga, and Kennedy Kihara, who is the secretary of the board. Interior CS Fred Matiang'i and Council of Governors Chair Wycliffe Oparanya as the joint representative of the Government of Kenya. The government's contribution to the fund will be supplemented by donations from other stakeholders. Vincent Odur, NTV.
Let's now get a sense of the situation in Homa Bay, and to give us that particular brief is Bernard Ojwang. Bernard, what are you following up on today?
Well, thank you very much, Olive. Just as you've said, we are heading to Homa Bay to attend a press conference that will be addressed by KMPDU Nyanza region leadership, whereby they will be talking to us. And to start with, in Migori County, following the ongoing heavy downpour currently being witnessed across the country, hundreds of families in Nyatika County have been rendered homeless, and of course they are saying that with the regulation that was given by the government that they should avoid overcrowded places, they are saying that they have been forced to brave the cold, and they will be they are currently camping in rescue camps as a way of helping them. And when we tried talking to them yesterday, they were saying that they have no option, but they are appealing to the government at least to come up with a long-lasting action, at least to curb that. And still on corona issues, and in Homa Bay County, KMPDU leadership, they will be addressing us. They are saying that as the government continues to intensify the fight against corona, they are saying that medics in Nyanza region are really facing a lot of challenges. They have no protective gears, risking their lives at least to attend to coronavirus suspect without gears. And in the next few hours, they will be addressing us at least to get more to get their concern and what do they want the government to do, both the national and the county government, so at least to enable them to do their work accordingly. Back to you, Olive.
All right, thank you, Bernard Ojwang. We cross back over to Martin Mora in Murang'a County, this time to hear from the area residents. Martin, over to you.
Thank you so much, Olive. Now, as I had said, the county has put up some various measures to ensure that this county stays COVID-19 free. I want to talk to the person in charge of public health here to tell us maybe other measures that they are putting in place, how many people are on self-quarantine, and what they are doing to ensure that no case is reported as in the neighboring Nairobi County. Daktari, karibu sana. Welcome to NTV. I'd like to, first of all, you start by telling us your names and tell us what measures are you guys putting in place to ensure that there is no COVID-19?
Okay, my name is Stephen Kuria, coordinating community health services in the county. What we have done, we have made sure that we have all the sanitizers. We are making sanitizers in hospital through Murang'a County government. Our governor has really assisted us, Wange, and we have made sure all the markets and public places like parking stages, we are issuing them with sanitizers. And also we have sensitized our community health volunteers so that they can teach our community and also giving them posters. And if there is any case or if you feel that the signs like difficulty in breathing, coughing, you report to the nearest health facility. Right now we have 98 people who are under quarantine, self-quarantine, 3 in isolation, awaiting the results. So we have no case in Murang'a. Like this morning, I'll give the motorbikes, boda sanitizers, I promised them. The taxi people, we will issue them with the sanitizers. And we are asking all the goodwill or the partners, development partners, to chip in so that we can be able to make more sanitizers. Because when it was announced that COVID-19 imefika, people short. They were selling the sanitizers at a high price, like 0.5 it was coming for 1,000. Now we have flooded the market. We have issued the warning on this, stay at home. Yeah, the CHVs are doing that, and we have also issued with them the post-AIC materials. So everybody is knows what it means. So we want, and we are also insisting that hard washing is very hard washing with the soap, and also sanitizing. If we can, even after coronavirus, ikiisha, we continue washing hands. And if we can wash hands, 99% of communicable diseases will have gone.
Now, my question is,
yes,
since you have launched stay at home and other measures or requirements for people to follow to ensure that COVID-19 is not reported in Murang'a, have people taken this message in-depthly, or they're just joking around with it?
Really, especially in the businesses, if you walk around in Murang'a, you see that they have put washing hands. They have used container, 20-liter container, and they are, everybody who is visiting their premises, they are washing their hands. So we encourage, even after these diseases has gone, they continue washing hands. And if we do that, 99% of communicable diseases are gone. So we feel encouraged for the work they are doing. And we continue emphasizing on that.
Okay. In the rural setup, here we are talking about, we are in a town. So mostly people are maybe, let me say, allow me to use the word, literate. Some of the people in deeper mashinani, they are saying that hii ugonjwa ni ya Nairobi, haijafika Gishagi. Some are not taking this seriously. Maybe apart from educating the CHWs or community health volunteers, what other measures are you putting in place to ensure that people actually take this disease with the seriousness it deserves?
We have told them, see, Ranzima, we're in a container. We have something we call them ricketings, where even visiting the toilet, you can use that. And that is why when the CHV are visiting households, we encourage them, wajue hii ugonjwa, and we want to reduce the visits ya watu from Nairobi, so that hii ugonjwa, when you shake hands, unaweza patwa, na we are warning them. Mtu waone kuoga mikono sio watu wa Nairobi, even rural areas, where our mothers, our dad, our grandpapa, we continue doing that. And when we do that, I think everything will be good. And they are taking it seriously. Yes, we can visit some of the places and you see they are really taking seriously. Even we are encouraging the border people, even when they are carrying their passengers, they sanitize them so that we can reduce this COVID-19.
Okay.
Yes.
I've seen also you have banned market days. You have also closed down salons and barbershops. Maybe what is the reason behind this?
We are trying to avoid contact. Contact is the issue. So that is why where we see the dangers, we want to put something seriously. Like we want even to put that we are encouraging people to use cashless. Watumie M-Pesa. Because mtu akiwa hata even in a butchery, you can unachukua pesa na unakata nyama na nini. So those things we are trying to avoid, and that is why we are encouraging them seriously. They avoid they avoid that. Yes.
And maybe your last appeal to the residents of Murang'a, because some are saying this is our source of income. Others are playing hide and seek during the time of curfew maybe. What is your appeal to the people of Murang'a?
I'm encouraging the Murang'a people to avoid, even for 2 weeks or 1 month, that one cannot hurt. The disease ikiingia, we don't have to take fever. And that is why we are saying it is very, very important you keep away. Whatever you have nini, save, tumia hiyo. Hapa Murang'a hatuna shida ya chakula, tuko na maembe, tuko na nini, mongo ile natupa nini mahidi tunapanda. So most of the Murang'a people nini, hii pesa kidogo we can save for a rainy day. So that tukigombana na hii ugonjwa everything will be okay. Yes.
Na ningetaka tu one last question before I let you go. How prepared are we as a county? Maybe God forbid when this disease hits us, are we well equipped to ensure that maybe it does not spread to other people?
We have done the isolations, Murang'a Hospital and Moriranjas, and that is why we are saying if we can maintain what we have maintained so far, we will be free from COVID-19. So let us maintain, and I'm encouraging everybody, if you are not working, stay at home, be with your children, and when we do that, everything will be okay. Yes, we are prepared, and that is why we are taking it seriously. Even our governor, Mongo Iria, giving us sanitizers, buying materials, we prepare them in the hospital. And that is why I'm encouraging the good partnership with our business people. Even banks, they can chip in. They give us the materials, the raw materials to produce more sanitizers, so that we will feel free that nobody gets the disease. And when we do that, everything will be okay.
We have seen that there's a notion. Actually, it's not a notion. It is a fact that this disease is being moved by people. And when we say people, we are talking about public service vehicles, public service transport. And we are seeing a scenario where we know some of these people do not follow the laid down regulations. Maybe have you come across any that is not adhering to regulations, and maybe what action have you taken against them?
What we have done, we are going with the security people. They are helping us so much. And we have even issued, to stages, sanitizers, so that you not come with a reason that you don't have a reason. And we are encouraging them to wash their vehicles, to sanitize their vehicles, so that hii kushikashika gari hivi inaweza leta. And even when a passenger is entering their vehicles, they sanitize, so that we are free from getting the virus. Yes.
Thank you so much, Daktari. Thank you so much for your time. And we really appreciate it. And thank you for the good job that you guys are doing.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Olive, as you have just heard, we were talking to the county community health volunteer coordinator here. And he has just given us a total brief of what measures they have been putting in place to ensure that this COVID-19 is not reported here. You know, Murang'a, as he has said, we have 98 people who are on self-quarantine, with 3 said to be on isolation, awaiting their result from Mbagathi. Back to you, Olive.
All right, thank you, Martin. And that concludes our special coverage of the COVID-19. At the end of this particular session, you've heard from our correspondents across the country, and now I'm sure you're well versed in all matters COVID-19 as far as the Kenya situation is concerned right now. As soon as there are updates, we will be bringing them to you. And NTV Sasa comes your way at 11 a.m. and we will have NTV at 1 p.m.
This is NTV.